Gross and Fine Motor Skills, Module 7 assignment by Jamin Nash. The purpose of this presentation is to inform parents and early childhood educators about the topics of gross and fine motor skills, provide a detailed explanation of gross and fine motor skills, provide observable examples of gross and fine motor skills, and provide example activities that demonstrate how caregivers may help facilitate the acquisition of these skills. Gross motor skills. Gross motor refers to movements of the large muscle groups in the neck, trunk, arms, and legs. According to Adam and Mila, healthy development of gross motor skills includes building up strength and endurance, control of muscle movements, professionally known as flexion and extension, and the ability to perform two separate patterns of movement with individual body parts known as disassociation. Gross motor skills for infants. Typical developmental milestones for infants include developing new reflexes, raising the head, learning to roll back and forth from the prone to the supine position, sitting upright, crawling, standing, and walking. Facilitating gross motor development in infants. Babies need to strengthen their muscles and bones, as well as learn how to use their bodies and to move around and to manipulate the environment. Caregivers can lay young infants on a clean blanket on the floor, surround them with clean, safe toys, and allow them to reach, wiggle, kick, and roll on their own or in play with others. Infants should also be laid on their bellies often in order to help them build arm, back, and neck muscles. As babies mature and their mobility improves, caregivers will have to do more to ensure a safe environment for exploration. Activities for facilitating gross motor skills in infants. Caregivers should engage in developmentally appropriate activities to encourage children's growth and development. Examples of such activities for gross motor development in infants include playing peekaboo, assisted walking, and reaching activities using toys. Gross motor skills for toddlers. Toddlers' gross motor skills begin with the ability to walk, then advance to more complicated movements. Some common developmental milestones include running, jumping, climbing, throwing, catching, and bicycling. Facilitating gross motor development in infants and toddlers. As children approach 2 years of age, gross motor skills expand to include tasks such as bending over to pick up a toy, running, climbing steps, and kicking and throwing a ball. Once children near 3 or 4 years old, they begin to master complex gross motor skills such as jumping, both in place and forward, or balancing on one foot. The caregiver plays an essential role in the toddler's acquisition of gross motor skills by implementing activities that encourage their proper growth and development. Activities for facilitating gross motor skills in toddlers. Scooping or digging is a simple activity that provides toddlers with plenty of practice using gross motor skills. This can be done by encouraging toddlers to scoop rice from one bowl and put it into another, or by allowing them to use a small plastic shovel to dig inside a sandbox. Make an obstacle course for toddlers. It can be indoors or outdoors and may consist of cushions, cardboard boxes, toys, or any other objects that children can run around or climb over. Dancing incorporates several gross motor actions into one activity. It incorporates twirling, spinning, bending, twisting, and swinging. It also allows toddlers the opportunity to practice motor sequencing skills. Fine motor skills. Fine motor skills involve precise movements of the small muscles, especially those of the eyes, speech, musculature, hands, fingers, feet, and toes. These skills are essential for performing everyday self-care tasks like putting on and taking off clothing, opening lunchboxes, brushing teeth, and using cutlery. Also, academic skills such as pencil skills of writing, drawing, and coloring, as well as cutting and pasting, are considered fine motor skills. Fine motor skills for infants. Children will learn to do more things with their hands as their cognitive and social emotional skills improve. Some major fine motor skill milestones for infants include voluntary grasping, which includes palmar grasps, radial digital grasps, and pincer grasps. Controlled reaching, turning pages in a book, or turning doorknobs. Also, self-feeding with minimal assistance. Facilitating fine motor development in infants. Children benefit from experiences that enhance the development of fine motor skills, enabling them to utilize their hands and fingers. Children need to have strength and dexterity in their hands and fingers, as well as eye-hand coordination, before being able to perform more complex skills such as manipulating a pencil on paper. Parents may facilitate their child's development of fine motor skills by making sure the baby plays on their stomach to strengthen the muscles in the back, shoulder, arms, and hands. Shift the baby's position frequently to help their motor skills to develop more thoroughly, and make sure that their back and shoulders are supported so they can concentrate on making their fingers work. Activities for facilitating fine motor skills in infants. Invest in a baby gym with dangling toys. Place the baby under the arc and encourage them to bat at the toys is good practice for eye-hand coordination. Play patty cake or itsy bitsy spider with a baby to help improve their coordination. And allow the baby to play with clay or Play-Doh. Babies like to use their fingers to poke holes in them, and poking holes is a good way to help the child to learn to use each of their fingers independently. Fine motor skills in toddlers. By the time a child reaches the toddler years, they are beginning to refine their motor skills and use these skills to manipulate objects in their environment and to perform functional tasks. Some major developmental milestones during this time include showing signs of hand preference by using one hand more often than others during activities. The development of bilateral hand skills refers to the ability to use both hands during functional tasks and the ability to self-dress with adult supervision. Facilitating fine motor development in toddlers. There are many activities that can increase muscle strength and coordination, preparing children for more advanced skills. Caregivers may help the child to build fine motor skills by providing them with opportunities to draw, scribble, or write with crayons, pencils, and markers. Dressing themselves, this practices buttoning, zipping, snapping, buckling, and fastening clothes. Holding knives, forks, spoons, and cups to eat or drink by themselves. Activities for facilitating fine motor skills in toddlers. The following are activities a child may perform at home or at school to improve their fine motor skills. Money boxes. This uses a money box or piggy bank and encourages the child to hold 2 or 3 coins in their hand and push them through one at a time without dropping the others. Play-Doh. Get the child to squish, squeeze, roll, and pound Play-Doh to strengthen the muscles in the hands and fingers. Tripod finger activities. The thumb, index finger, and middle fingers commonly used when writing are known as the tripod fingers. The following hand exercises are good for developing tripod finger strength and coordination. Scissor cutting, coloring with a crayon or marker, tearing paper, any activities involving the use of clothespins, and crumbling small pieces of crepe or tissue paper into balls. Summary. Gross motor skills refer to the coordinated movement in the large muscle groups of the neck, back, arms, and legs, while fine motor skills refer to the precise movements of small muscles in the eyes, hands, and feet. Caregivers should be aware of developmental milestones and provide children with opportunities that encourage the development of motor skills in order to prevent developmental delays. There are many specific activities that may be used to facilitate the development of fine and gross motor skills in infants and toddlers.